The summer just gone was, of course, the most savage summer that Australia's ever had. Obviously very, very dry in a lot of areas, but we had the hottest day right across Australia that Australia has ever recorded, 40.33 degrees. Very, very savage weather. Therefore, this autumn is the most important autumn that you will ever know in your lives. Why? We had 10 years of drought, which did terrible damage. Then 2 years of sort of heavy rains and floods, which did damage because it was too wet after being too dry. And now this savage summer. That's about 13 years of absolute bastardry by the weather. Now, if you have a look at this, this is a Japanese dissector maple. If you look at the leaves, they're all burnt. That is sunburn. These plants are not able to cope with such incredible heat. Now, look at these branches here. You'll notice on top it's a silvery grey colour and down below it's green. They should be green all over. That silvery grey colour is sunburn. If you like, it's almost like bark cancer. Terrible, terrible damage. But you might say, oh, that's from Japan. What about something that we know loves lots of sun and lots of heat? Say, citrus trees. Now this is a potted citrus tree. These yellow spots are actually sunburn. You'll notice in the middle of that bit there, it's actually burnt dead, so it's a brown colour. Now you would never think that a citrus would sunburn, but in a pot where there's restricted ability to get water, in other words, perhaps it didn't get quite enough water on a very hot day, it has sunburnt. Again, gravel drive, could have been a concrete drive, heat's absorbed by those and that heat is radiated. So a lot of plants all over Australia have suffered terrible, terrible damage right through the last summer. You must now be gentle to them, loving and kind and all that. What do? It doesn't last long, but if you can, loosen hay or pea straw as a mulch around plants is awesome. It enriches the soil, gets the microorganisms going. It's just fabulous. But mulching is important. I wouldn't use fresh pine bark, but you can use composted pine bark. It's a darker colour, looks better, looks like earth, but it's better for plants. But wood chip, leaf litter or whatever, but mulching is really important now. You need to get some seaweed products, and they need to be brown and smelly. Seaweed products get the roots regrowing if they've been burnt by the weather, and they don't get sunburn, they just get burnt dry by the heat. Equally, you need some wetting agents because you've got to get water back into dry soils. A lot of soils in Australia won't accept water. When you water them and you think you've watered them, you haven't at all. The water's run off, gone away, but didn't soak in. So there's a good product called Sea Salt Super Soil Wetter, and no, we don't take money to recommend products. Sea Salt Super Soil Wetter, it's a wetting agent. In one go it wets the soil, makes the water go in when it rains, everything else, and you've got the seaweed there to get the roots growing. Those sort of things are absolutely pivotal this autumn. The other one is lawn. Your lawn has probably taken a pizzling. You could sow some runners now. There's still a little bit of time to sow runners. You could lay some turf if it's really erect. Must be matching the sort of lawn you got. If you don't know what your lawn is, take up a little sod, take it to the local nursery and say, what's that? Then order your replacement turf to lay. Or maybe you could sow some seed, but you need to get that all going and lots of water. And again, that Sea Salt Super Soil Wetter on the lawn so that the water starts to go in again, because most of them are so dry they won't re-wet. Doing all of that and maybe a light fertilising a week or two later, about half your regular dose. Hopefully come spring, the lawn will roar away and recover. But if you don't do some work now, you really are going to have problems. Can I just say one last little caveat? It's so tempting when you see a little bit like this, say, where it's a bit burnt or whatever, or some ugly bits on your plants, give it a prune. I wouldn't. Leaves are the stomach of the plants. They make their food there. The plant needs all the leaves it can get. So leave the plant alone. What looks like it's dead may not be dead. Leave it alone till October and prune in October, but just nurture, be kind, water, seaweed, wetting agents, and no bastardry, guys, not before October.